Slavery in America all started with the Industrial Revolution of the 1820s. Slaves were brought in from Africa. The South needed slaves to pick the cotton that they relied so heavily on. Slaves were treated very harshly on the plantations. In fact, slaves tried to escape to the northern United States, where slavery was legal. Most of the Northerners were abolitionists, which means they wanted to stop slavery altogether, but some were just against slavery. There were some abolitionists in the South, but most were pro-slavery. The South consisted of Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. Nat Turner was an educated slave in Virginia. He was born in 1800. He is infamous for his killing of over 50 white people in Southampton County, Virginia, on August 21st, 1831. He led this massacre by night and was captured on October 30th, 1831. This became known as the Nat Turner Rebellion. He was executed on November 11th, 1831. 18 others were executed. Some view Turner as a hero, while some view him as a terrorist. Uncle Tom's Cabin was a novel written by abolitionist and teacher Harriet Beecher Stowe. It was second only to the Bible on the bestseller list in the 19th century. The book focuses on the hardships of the main character, Uncle Tom. An uproar of disapproval from the pro-slavery South followed the publishing in 1852. A bookseller from Mobile, Alabama was banished from the city for selling Uncle Tom's Cabin. Stowe had never been to a southern plantation. She heard stories from escaped slaves and witnessed slaves being sold on the Ohio River. The Kansas-Nebraska Act was written by Illinois Senator Stephen Douglas. It proposed that the states of Kansas and Nebraska should vote on whether the state should have slavery or be free, thus repealing the Missouri Compromise of 1820. The act was passed in 1854 and people rushed into Kansas to vote on the issue. This led to Bleeding Kansas. Bleeding Kansas is the name of a series of battles between pro-slavery and anti-slavery voters. John Brown was born on May 9, 1800 in Connecticut. He was influenced into abolitionism by his father. He had 20 children and some of his sons fought alongside him in Bleeding Kansas. He led a failed raid to the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia. His plan was to steal the weapons from the arsenal and give them to the slaves so that they could revolt. He was stopped by Robert E. Lee and the Confederate Marine Corps. Brown was captured, brought to Charlestown, sentenced to death, and hanged on December 2, 1859. South Carolina seceded from the Union on December 28, 1860. Next came Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. These became known as the Confederate States of America. The capital of the CSA was Montgomery, Alabama. The president was West Point Military Academy graduate Jefferson Davis. The Constitution of the Confederacy was adopted on March 11, 1861. The Civil War started on April 12, 1861, at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. A gruesome, bloody 5-year war that would change the way we live today followed. The Civil War had over 50 hideous battles and over 5,000 minor battles. The war ended with a Confederate surrender on April 9, 1865, and that is why conflict is the main cause of the Civil War.
Southrons, hear ye country call ye up, lest worse than death befall ye. To arms, to arms, to arms in Dixie, blow all that beat.